Well, hello, everybody. It's Fabienne Fredrickson. I am so happy to be here with you today. Welcome. Today, we are talking about closing the sale. Closing the sale is one of those things that has baffled people my entire business coaching career. Fabienne, I don't know how to get people to show up for our sales conversation. I don't know how much to charge. I don't want to be too pushy. What do I have to do? Hi, Kiva. What do I have to do to convince somebody to work with me if they don't know me? Hi, Blair. Great to see you here. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Derek. Great to be with all of you. We are talking closing of the sale today. Hi, Leslie. Hi, Maureen. As you're joining us, say, just, wave a little, hi to me and tell me where you're from. I want to hear where everybody is from today. I have a feeling we're going to have a pretty global conversation today. Hi, Therese. Nice to have you here. Hi, Tracy. We are talking sales today. And it is my intention to answer all of the questions that you have previously typed in, and to shift your focus on how you view sales. So many people, especially when they have their own business, they freak out when it comes to looking at the sales conversation. And because of that, my belt is hitting up against this marble table. Let me fix my belt. Hi, Annegret. So nice to have you here from Norway. Hello. And Mari from south of Spain. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I haven't talked to you in years. Hi, Linda. Great to have you here today. Hey, Chris Salisbury, Evergreen State of Washington. We are talking about closing the sale today. And if this is a topic that you want to get much better at, I want you to press like, I want you to press love button. I want you to share this if you have some friends in your networks that could use more cash flow. Cash flow is and has been since the dawn of time when we used to call them merchants back in the old Greek and Roman days. Merchants would complain about two things. They would complain about cash flow and team. Still the same thing. Hi, Manar. Great to have you here. Send the link to Hélène. She would like that, Linda. So today we're going to talk about closing of the sale. I have been refining this closing of the sale process for close to 20 years now. And it is actually one of my favorite processes and favorite things to teach. There's so much confusion around closing of the sale. A lot of people feel that it's icky. They feel nervous about it. They avoid it like the plague. And that's not good for closing of the sale. So if you have some questions for me, type them into the comments. I've gotten several questions ahead of time. I'm so glad I asked, because I was able to say, oh, yes, I can totally answer that for you. I can totally answer that for you. Let's see, Maurizio. Hi, Barbara. So glad to have you here. Welcome. Maurizio, and what can make it people who do not have their job because they have lost it? If you have lost your job, it's actually a great time to start your own business. You are then in control of your future. You are in control of your income. One, by how much you market. Write this down, please. You are in control as a business owner of how much you make by, one, how much you market, how much marketing you do, and two, how well you can close the sale, and I believe authentically. So today we're going to talk about authentic sales, and thank you, Blair, for sharing my video. I'm really glad. Hi, Bob Roush, so glad to see you. I'm so glad you're here. Miss talking to you. Hi, Wendy. Great to have you here today. Oh, this is going to be a fun Facebook Live. Angie, how do we decide which business to get into? I will talk about that today. Which biz to get into? Thank you for your question. So today we're going to talk about, good morning, Marietta. Please do share the video, share it with your networks, let people come in, because I'm going to give a lot of best practices today about closing of the sale. And hi, Angie. So great. I'll answer your question. Thank you so much. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to talk about that, Linda, about when you have a potential client that hesitates because of the price you charge. This is a question that I got 3 or 4 times today, so it's going to be awesome. Hi, Carrie. So glad to have you here. We're going to have a great call today. All right. So the very first thing that I think we should talk about is the idea of being too pushy in your sales conversation. And as I mentioned just a moment ago, a lot of people feel really icky about the sales process. And I want to reframe the sales process for you so that you understand that it's not about taking from someone. See, if you're anything like me, you love people. In fact, when I hadn't yet met my husband, Derek, who's watching here, and I remember, and I didn't yet have my children, and I didn't have all my hundreds of wonderful clients that I get to love up, I used to say to my friends when I was in my mid to late 20s, I have so much love to give. Oh my God, the tears are coming, actually. We're talking about closing the sale. But I would say I have so much love to give. And if you could change the way you look at closing the sale as giving love to someone and loving someone so much, even if you don't know them, loving them so much that you would take a stand for them and get them to work with you if you have the solution, right? That is authentic sales. It is about, instead of taking, most people see as taking people's money and strong arming them to do something that, they wouldn't have done. I see it completely differently. I see that there's a person who has a problem that I can solve. I can solve no problem. And I would never close the sale with somebody that I believe I can't solve their problem. So there's somebody who's waking up in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. and they have a problem I can solve. So they need more clients. They want to grow their income. They want to grow their business. They want to grow their impact. They want to get their solution, their business out there in a much bigger way. I know I can do that. I can do that. I am amazing at it. We've got a 7-figure club happening this year. So many of our business owners are doing, it's the hashtag 7 in 2017. We have people just getting more clients all over the globe. I know I can do that. So I want you to ask yourself, what is it that I know that I can do with my clients? And if you can really wrap your arms around what you can do, and you meet somebody who has a problem that you can solve, are you going to let them just continue being in their problem? Or are you going to love them enough to ask them to work with you? Right? If you like what I've just said, hit the like button, hit the love button, hit the share button. Let's get some hearts and smiley faces all over the place. This is about a shift in your closing of the sale consciousness. This is about it's about not being embarrassed to ask about the money at the end of the conversation. I will talk about that, Linda. What a great question. So if you reframe it and look at it as, imagine that somebody has cancer. You learn that somebody has cancer. And for some of you, this is very real because you're in the holistic health field and things like that. Imagine that somebody has cancer and you have the cure for cancer, and their life is on the line. Do you see yourself saying, no, I cannot, I'm not going to talk to them about working with me? Or are you going to love them enough, even if they're a stranger, to tell them about what you do? That's what authentic sales is about. Hi, Kat. So great to have you here. Hi, Carol. I love calling you Carol. I'm glad that you're here. Hey, Carolyn Mixon. Nice to have you. I'm glad you're all here today. We're talking about sales, doing sales in a way that doesn't feel icky and that produces results. So here are some of the questions that I got from Jessica Cisco, and I hope you're here, Jessica. I'm answering your question. How can I ask for the sale in my marketing materials without being too pushy? It all depends on what you're selling. So here's how it goes. I was taught this a long time ago when I was studying information marketing. Information marketing is basically when you're in the advice giving business and you're selling information, right? Um, uh, Oh, Leslie, I hear what you're saying. Why wouldn't you feel that you need to give them the answer instead of having them pay? Well, one, you can't stay in business very long if you give it all away for free. And two, what I have learned is when you give somebody the answer for free, they don't implement it. They have no skin in the game. So if you give somebody something for free and they don't do it, how much further along are they? They're not. You've actually done them a disservice. They won't implement it on their own. Think about personal trainers, think even about business coaches. Sometimes my clients can go and find the answers online, but they're not implementing it on their own because there's no accountability, there's no best practices, there's no exactly how to, etc. So free has no value. Exactly, Carrie. You got it. High five, girlfriend, right? They need to be invested, Marietta. That's exactly right. Hit the like button. Yeah, like, right? If somebody has no skin in the game, they're going to stay in their old way of doing things. So getting back to Jessica's question, it depends on what you're selling. She's asking about, do I have to be pushy in my marketing? One, I don't believe in being pushy. I believe in being passionate. Write this down, right? It's not about being pushy. It's about being passionate in a way that you can help somebody do something for themselves that they wouldn't have done on their own. So here's what I learned in information marketing. The higher the price point, the more marketing you need to do. The higher the price point, right? So something that you're selling for $5 is going to require a lot more marketing and a lot more sales, or a lot less marketing and a lot less sales than something that's going to be $15,000, right? Or euros, wherever you're coming from. So the more you need to sell it, the more conviction you need to have, right? It's not the pushy piece because you're coming from a place of compassion. Write that down. I sell with compassion, not pushiness. If you can put yourself in the person's shoes and in their heart, and you can say, I hear you, I feel what you're experiencing, I get where you're standing right now, I get that this seems hopeless, and it doesn't have to be this way. We can do something about it. There is a solution. Would you like to know more? And then you just quiet. Don't say anything, right? Would you like to? There is a solution. It doesn't have to be this way. We can solve this. Would you like to know more? No talking, right? Let them sit in that and say, yes, I would like to know more. The key to authentic sales is that they sell themselves into working with you. You're there, passionate, providing all of the things that they need. But the key, write this down, please, the key to authentic sales, closing the sale 97% of the time, is to have a process by which the person closes themselves into working with you. Awesome, right? So the higher the price point, the more you need to have sales tools. In some cases, it's a sales page, which is a long info page that describes what you're doing. If we're talking about selling one-to-one, it's about taking people through a process. The Bold Heart Business members have this closing of the sale process that I've created over the last, close to 18 years, 19 years. And it's a process of, write this down. I love telling people to write things down. I hope you don't mind. It's just that I love writing things down because then I remember it. So the idea is that you want people to self-select and pre-qualify themselves. So, hi, Carolyn from Belgium. The whole piece about self-selection is having somebody say, wow, you are describing me in your marketing materials. I can't believe you're describing, how do you know me so well? If you can start your closing of the sale process by having somebody raise their hand and say, hey, you're talking about me, that means your marketing materials need to do some heavy lifting for you, right? You need to know the three things that you need to know to have your self-selection process go strong in your in your marketing materials is one, who specifically is your ideal client, who they are, right? So number one, who they are. Number two, what their struggles and issues tend to be. Number three, so who they are, what their issues and struggles and challenges tend to be. And number three, what they would do anything and pay anything to solve. Or sometimes I say it that way, and sometimes it's what's their greatest aspiration. What do they need? What do they need to do or change to have that? So their greatest aspiration, who they are, what their struggles are, and what their greatest aspirations are. And when you can get really clear about that, my friends, when you can just be able to create this avatar, the person will say, that's me you're talking about. How do you know me so well? There are sometimes people who have said to me, I don't know if you've got a chip planted in my head, but you are describing me right now. If you like what we're talking about, just hit like, okay? I want to see those little hearts and those little smiley faces go. The whole idea is, hi, Carrie. Great to have you here today. The whole idea is for them to raise their hand and say, okay, you had me at hello. And then it's about taking them through a process of pre-qualifying themselves, not getting into a conversation with someone before they've done any work. Instead of you doing all the work as the business owner, you turn the tables and you have the prospect do the work. Shocking, right? They have to answer a series of questions that lets you know ahead of time whether they're an ideal client for you or not. Tell me about your situation, what's working, what's not working. What is this costing you? What would happen if you were in the same situation in 1 year? Would you be happy or not? What's the opportunity cost? And if we could solve this, how would it make a difference in your life? You ask them to send you these questions before you get on any phone call with them. Right? Before you meet them in person, you ask them these questions, they send it to you. And in filling out these questions, they are actually beginning the process of pre-qualifying themselves. Next, the process that I've been teaching for 20 years, and I've diced it and sliced it and tweaked it for that long. And that's why many of our clients are using this at this crazy accuracy, like this. It works so well when they follow the cheat sheet that we give them in Bold Heart Business. They send them the questions, and then they ask them to read a description, an interview, a description of what the programs are and who they work with, who you work with and who you don't, and what's it like to work together, and what are the results, and what are the, you're basically answering all of their questions and all of their objections about your program or about what you sell, if you will, even before you get on the what I call the get acquainted phone call. I call it a get acquainted phone call and not a sales conversation, because it's just me getting to know who they are. I need to choose you just as much as you want to choose me. I don't work with just anybody. I don't work with chronic whiners and skeptics. I know it sounds crazy to say, but I love myself enough to not work with really terrible clients. And you should love yourself enough to not work with terrible clients too, right? So having them pre-qualify themselves, go through this hoop, answer their own objections even before they get to the get acquainted phone call with you, and having them read your testimonials before they get on the get acquainted call with you, what that does, my friends, is it has them sell themselves into your program even before, or into working with you, even before they talk to you. So what happens is, by the time that you guys talk, let's say you're talking on the phone, or when I lived in Manhattan, I used to meet people at this cafe on 38th and Madison in Manhattan, and I would do the same process that we're talking about now. I would have them do all these things ahead of time, and then we would meet for a cup of coffee, and then I would ask them the questions that they sent in. Even though they already sent the answers to me, I would ask them the questions again, and it would start this conversation. And all I did during the closing of the sale process is just ask questions. There was no selling, just ask, ask, ask. And when you do that, you do not have to be pushy, because they've done all the selling themselves. What do you think of that? Do you like that? If you do, like, write me a note. Love it. Oscar, so glad that you're here. I'm glad that you love it. Okay. Penny, how do you kindly say no to working with someone who you know isn't ideal? I usually know right away. So when I get on the phone, well, one, I know usually by the questions, that the answers to the questions right away. I used to, in the very beginning, I'd say, oh, let's get together for 60 minutes for an hour long sales or, conversation, free consultation. And then I realized that because I said an hour long, if I knew within 4 minutes that the person wasn't ideal, I was stuck for another 56 minutes because they felt entitled to have the extra 56 minutes with me. So instead, I say, let's get together. Let's get acquainted. I want to find out about you. You've already found out about me and how I work. Now it's my turn. I just want to find out about you, ask you some questions, hear about your business, and see if I can help. Let's get together for 15, 20 minutes on the phone. If I can help, great. And if not, I'll refer you to somebody else who might be a better match. What that does is it does 2 or 3 things. One, it allows you to say, I might not be, so in my case, I might not be the right coach for you, or this might not be the best program for you. However, I do have somebody that I can refer you to. And what it also does is helps you just kind of wiggle out of the phone call if they're really, if they're really not ideal for you. You haven't committed to a whole hour, but it's totally okay with saying, I'm actually not sure I'm the right person for you, but let me think about this. And when I find somebody for you, I will make the introduction. And if you do have somebody, then do make the introduction. And if not, just say, I'll swing back around when I do find somebody. It allows you to kindly say no without having to be beholden to them for that hour or more, right? So, good. I'm glad you like it, Christy. I'm really glad. Carol, this is really the beautiful thing about the whole closing of the sale process is that it is an elegant, subtle process. There are so many subtleties involved that it is this thing that I'm passionate about, because once you can get comfortable with closing the sale, it becomes this thing that you love to do. Because remember what we talked about in the beginning, it's not about taking from somebody, it's about loving somebody enough to make yourself available to work with them. It's about giving solutions. I was just reading something that one of the members of Bold Heart Business who came into the growth track, and within 6 months got to a 6-figure business. She had a side hustle, and she decided, she came to me at first for client attraction, like 6 or 8 months ago. And she got so many clients right away that she moved up to our leverage track, which is when you're in the 6 figures and you want to get to 7 figures. And she said, oh, I lost my train of thought. It'll come back. It's about loving and giving solutions, right? I promise I will. What did she say? I'll answer another question. Just hit some like buttons to make me feel less bad about forgetting what I was going to say. I'm sure it'll come back. Yeah, I'm sure it'll come back. All right, I answered Jessica's question. Christy Hall, it's another Christy. It's not about taking from someone. It's about loving and giving. Absolutely. Absolutely. So Christy Hall sent in a question yesterday in the comments. And by the way, if you like what we're doing today and you want me to do it on a more regular basis, just giving free content and answering your questions, I have a feeling I would be delighted to do this on a more regular basis, maybe even every other week, or maybe even once a week, if you like this, type in something and let me know that you want me to do this more often. And I would be delighted to. I know, Penny, I got so excited. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, Shelly, good. All right. I'm glad this is useful. Thank you, Linda. Okay, good. If the more people I hear from, or see likes and loves, then I would be happy to do more of it. It has to be something that you want. So Christy Hall sent in a question, and she said, I'd love to learn how to move friends to client status while maintaining the friendship first, if that makes sense. This is something that I'm really good at. I don't mind saying, because I have worked this out. I had, in the very beginning, my very first business was a holistic nutrition business. I was a holistic health counselor. And I made the biggest mistake. I'm just a girl, right? I'm just trying to figure out my thing. And in the beginning, I didn't know what I was doing. And I convinced, no, actually, it was right after I was done with my first nutrition business, and I opened up my business coaching business. And one of my friends in New York was another holistic health counselor. And she was a friend of mine, and I convinced her, and I think I might have been a little pushy back then. I convinced her to become my client, and it ruined our relationship because the energy changed, and I treated her more like a client than I did a friend. And it was a big mistake. Now, was she my best friend of all time? No, but I just felt a little icky about that, and I'm just honest about it. So, yeah, thank you. Hi, Bonnie. Hi, Cherie. It's my pleasure. I'm glad you're experiencing, in your words, the generosity. I love doing this. I would love to do this with you all the time. What I've learned in from that situation is that you, Christy, and all of you who, if you ever want to work with your friends as clients, you need to separate the relationship. It doesn't mean that you can't be friends with them anymore, but you need to do things differently than you would do with your other clients. So I call it the hats, right? And I do this with my husband too, who's here on this. Everybody say hi, Derek. Hi. He's at home with the kids, and I'm in the office. The kids are off. It's been an interesting juggle. We do this, Derek and I, because we work together. We have to have two hats. I've got the wife hat and the coworker hat, and he's got obviously the husband hat and the coworker hat. And you cannot wear two hats at the same time. Same goes with you when you're working with your clients who are also friends. You cannot wear the two hats at the same time. So before I work with a friend, and I've worked with many friends before, people who just say, you know what, I love what you do, and it's not because I'm your great friend that why shouldn't I work with you? And by the way, I don't give discounts for friends and family. I don't believe in that. I know you could think like, how could you do that? I believe in the same thing that we were talking about at the very beginning of this Facebook Live, that if somebody's not invested, if they don't have skin in the game, they're not going to do the work. I hope he's not listening, but I even gave one of my programs to our cousin, Derek's cousin. I hope he's not listening. And he didn't do it. And it was a pretty expensive program, and he didn't do it, and he was part of it, and he backed out and stuff like that because he wasn't committed financially. And I love him, and all that, but I've realized you don't give valuable stuff away for free. If somebody really wanted it, they would pay for it. Unless you decide to, unless you just want to, give a scholarship to somebody, but don't expect them to do the work, because the likelihood is they might not. Hey, Alexander, great to see you. Hope it's beautiful where you are. Marietta, yes, boundaries are absolutely critical. Oh, I'm glad that you're all saying hi to Derek. You're getting a lot of love, Derek. So the hats, when I'm working with a client, I make sure that I tell them before I even sign them up. I say, I would be delighted to work with you before we even talk about it. I just want you to know about these two hats. When we're friends, if I'm at your house, we're having a glass of wine and we're barbecuing and our kids are playing together, I'm going to have my friend hat on, and we're not going to talk about business. Okay. Because it's not fair for me. and it's also not fair for all my other clients who don't get to, sit with me all Sunday afternoon. I almost said shooting the shit, but I just did. um, just I wouldn't give you an extra 5 hours if I didn't give to my other clients. So when I've got my friend's hat on, we're friends. When we've got our client and mentor hat on, we're not discussing, how our friend Susie is doing, and we are in this solid client relationship. And if we get on the phone call together, we, hey, how are you? Good. How are you? How's everything? Da, da, da. And then we go right into the coaching until the end. And if we have time and we want to talk some more, we hang up the phone and then we call each other again. And then we put our friend's hat back on. And what it does, I'm glad you like the hat example, Terry. Hey, Laura Massoni, how are you? You're about to move to Italy soon. I'm glad you're here. Yeah, the skin in the game is a really big deal, Carol. Yes. Hi, Stéphanie Morel. I'm so glad you're here. So yeah, you got to let them know ahead of time, and then if they cross it, just lovingly remind them that this is how you work. So Allie Larson, what about clients that want to be your friend? Is there a real opportunity for that, or is it just part of the game, being friendly almost as a friend, but have not intention to actually become friends or fear losing the client? That is something that I have is very present for me, because I, as I mentioned early in the call, I have so much love to give, and I say I love you to my clients. They say it. I wait until they say it. It's like a relationship with a boy, right? You wait till he says it first. I can't believe that I'm talking about that, but I believe that there can be this exchange of love if you're somebody like me who just literally, authentically, deeply is invested and cares for her clients. If you want to have a relationship outside, you just need to be clear again about the hats thing. I find that when I have blurred the boundaries too heavily, it's affected one or the other relationship. So most times I'll keep it up to a certain level. I mean, listen, sometimes I'm here in Paris. Sometimes we have clients who come to Paris where we take them out for dinner and we go out for drinks with them and things like that. But are they going to come and have a pajama sleepover at my house? I don't think that that's the best thing to do. So I hope that that's helpful. Hi, Laura. I do like the hanging up the phone, and Shannon, good. I'm glad to break up the transition. It's something physical that you do to create that transition. Hey, Dawn, how are you? So glad you're here. Thank you. I do have so much left to give. I mean, it's so crazy. I don't know why it's come up a lot today, but I think it's this closing of the sale thing. If you approach it with love, people feel it. If you approach it with love and compassion, and you can really be with someone, it's not unusual over all these years. It is not unusual for me to be on a closing of the sale conversation with somebody over the phone, and for them to cry and for me to cry too. It's happening again. And why? It's because there is such a level of authenticity, and when you use the closing of the sale process the way I haven't taken a deep dive in it, because it's just something we teach over a period of 2 days. It is a really beautiful process that honors them and honors you. It doesn't make you feel icky, and they don't feel sold to. They feel like they get to buy, and everybody loves to buy, but they don't like to be sold. Write that down for yourself. Everyone loves to buy, but no one likes to be sold. And so if you approach the closing of the sale conversation, what I call the get acquainted call, or what we call in-house the GAC, the get acquainted call, if you approach the GAC with this, I'm not here to sell. They're here to close themselves. I'm not here to sell. You can actually take off the sales armor. They can take off their protection armor, and you can just literally do a soul heart-to-heart connection, And you can really be there for them and say, so tell me what's not going well. So tell me more. And as I understand it, and what is it that you want to see in a year, to be happy with your progress? Where would we be in 1 year? And how would that make a difference in your life? And you can almost feel the tears coming up for them. And for me too, just because I'm a very sensitive person and I can really connect with them. And from that place, when there's no manipulative strategy, you can both exhale into working together. I know it sounds awesome. Thank you, Moni. I'm glad this is good for you, because this is a topic that I absolutely love. You can exhale into working together without you feeling like you had to go bye, 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 right? And them feeling like, stop. It's more like, oh my God, holy cow, we're going to do this. Wow, this feels amazing. It's such a beautiful process. Approach the close with love. Yes, Christy. I always focus on putting the client's needs first, but this is a much deeper level, such a deeper level. So I'm glad I was able to answer that. Diana Lopez, I don't know if you're here, but I have got your question from yesterday. I typed it out. And look, I even took notes, you guys. I'm prepared. But I would have answered it without taking the notes anyway. Diana Lopez, you said, is it best to try to close on the first attempt? Do you have other opportunities to do so? Ideally, yes. And if you use the closing of the sale process that I've been talking about today, the whole having them self-select with your marketing and then having them pre-qualify themselves with your authentic sales process, and they've read your testimonials and they've read all of the answers to their objections, even before they brought up their objections, the likelihood is that you will close the sale on the first try, in the first conversation. Everything that we teach at Bold Heart Business is about closing it on the first conversation. So you do that. You have them self-select, pre-qualify, go through some hoops, answer some questions, read a couple things, and then you show up authentically and lovingly and compassionately, and also with solutions, and you have conviction and you're passionate, and you can make a case for why they should, they really, what is the alternative to working together. Then the likelihood is they will close on the same day and they will feel happy about it, and you will congratulate them. Sometimes that does not happen. Sometimes they need to talk to somebody else. Sometimes they need to think about it. That's when I talk about setting up a bookends call. And my languaging has always been, okay, sure, yeah, I totally get it. You got to talk to your husband. You got to talk to your accountant. Hey, there's no rush on my end, right? I'm here. Just, the longer you take to make a decision, the further away you're getting from the results that you said you wanted. And I don't say it in a bad way, but we kind of, we agree to that. So I say, do you need 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months to make a decision? And usually, I've said this so many times. What do you think? What does your gut tell you? You need 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months? And they usually say, oh, no, just like, tomorrow or Monday. They don't feel sold, right? Because somebody else would go in and say, no, you need to make the decision today. Nobody likes that. They literally, genuinely want to have some time to think about it. And because you're saying, how much time do you want to make the decision? They feel in control. See, the whole thing about this beautiful process that I've been teaching all of my clients is that they're in control. You're in control, but they feel in control. You're in control because you know that this is a process that works. Hey, Karen, so glad you could join us. You know that this process works. You feel authentic. They feel taken care of. You both feel honored, but they feel like they're in control because you're not pushing them. You're guiding them, but you're not pushing them. So, I'm just reading some of the comments. So, what was I going to say? So that is, ideally you do it in in one shot. And if not, you do a bookend call, which is, okay, you just need 3 days. Let's open up our calendars now, because I don't want to follow up with you unnecessarily. And let's book something. Let's just a 5-minute check-in call. Tuesday at, how about 2:15? The 2:15 good for you? Okay, great. Tuesday at 2:15. You call me, same number. And I will be ready for you. We'll spend 5 minutes. You'll tell me where you are in your process, and we'll go either way. And what happens is, because you've actually scheduled a call and they are to call you, it's an appointment in your calendar, they will make the decision by Tuesday at 2:15. Even if they make it at 2:14, they will make it. And if they do not call, you have every right to call and say, are you okay? Is everything okay? Because now they didn't show up for a call. And so they're obligated. They need to tell you. They need to call you and tell you. And I have found that to be very, very powerful for someone, to give them a deadline by which to make a decision. Oh, do you like that? If so, hit like, love. I want to see little hearts everywhere. Share, send this to someone and say, you've got to come on here. We are talking about awesome ninja but authentic sales best practices. Hi Cherise, lovely to see you. Hey Susan, great to see you. I'm glad you're here. Corny, how do you keep people from taking advantage of you when you are a sensitive person? I have strong boundaries, Corny, because I am a very sensitive person. I might not seem like it. Some people think I'm very powerful, I'm very decisive, but I have, my heart is so big that I have to set boundaries. And I'm really good at doing that. It's one of the big things that I teach our clients in Bold Heart Business, is to set really strong boundaries. You would be so surprised at the number of people who are super successful in business. I mean, we're talking about multiple 6-figure business owners. They make $500,000 a year. They make $1 million a year. And I'm teaching them about boundaries with their clients. That is how you protect yourself and have people not take advantage of you. And my passion is and your passion is so strong that you can weep at the drop of a hat when you are working on what you were born to do. Definitely. I'm with you on that. How many times have I was on the verge of tears just on this Facebook Live? In fact, I've got myself a little napkin, so just look away. It's about setting boundaries, and it's also about just if somebody says or trespasses you, you can just say, no, thank you. No, please don't do that. That's not how I work. And love yourself enough to have a list of standards of what's acceptable for you and what's not, and how to be treated by prospects and clients, and then to enforce it. This is what I teach in my Bold Heart Self program, is to make a list of standards. It is not acceptable to, etc. And then educate the people around you on how you want to be treated. And this is very, very powerful. How do you enlighten? Hi, Anthony. So glad you're here. How do you enlighten a prospect that they have a major problem you can solve, but they don't recognize that they have the problem? I sell tax credit recovery services where I can recoup 3 years of back taxes from them. I have found that when you try, so Anthony, great question. I have found that if you try to tell somebody that they have a problem that they don't recognize, if you tell them face to face, they feel threatened. I prefer to teach. I prefer to talk about examples. I prefer to give a lot of value. And maybe somebody on who's watching here now is, I wouldn't ever go to you and say, what's wrong with you? You're not closing the sale 97% of the time, idiot. I would never say that. But in teaching about how do you close the sale, even 50% of the time, 60% of the time, that whole thing makes people say, I wonder if I could do that, right? I wonder if that would be possible for me. And then you just keep adding value over time, sending them case studies or testimonials of people who have gotten, who recouped 3 years of back taxes, and they will be interested. But I have found that if you just push too hard, somebody, they don't like that. Thank you, Cherise. Fabienne, you are so brilliant at the heart-centered sales conversation. I just love it. I think people are doing sales in the worst way. And if we can just boldly change the sales conversation, change the sales process to be about love and compassion and collaboration, you will actually find that more people will work with you than if you're constantly pushing. No rush on my end. Yes, that works so well. Salut Suzanne, tout va bien, merci. J'espère que toi aussi. So, hi Pearl, great to have you. I'm glad you're here. Thank you, Shelley. I'm glad you like the strategy. Hit the like button, guys. Hit the hearts. I want to see hearts. I am a Leo. I like attention. And listen, if ever this speaks to you and you have been thinking about working with me, and maybe this is the thing that is the light bulb that says, you know what, I like her style. I want to work with her. I want to be in her community. Just go to boldheart.com and go to the Start Here page and just fill out the short questionnaire, and let's set up a time to talk. I've got some awesome strategy coaches. They are like me. They are not pushy. They are excellent coaches. They are compassionate, and they just want to hear your situation and see if they can help. And if not, then, we are not pushy. But if you've been thinking about working with me, let's do it, right? Why wait? Why unnecessarily delay the results you want now is what I've been saying for years. Yes, boundaries. Okay. Thank you, Naomi. I'm glad you like what we're sharing today. Glad you're here. So, Mercedes, how to close when the price is too high. How to close when the price is too high is not to have just one price. For many, many, many years, actually before this, I used to have a take it or leave it price. You take it or you leave it. It was just one program, one price. And what I found out is too many people left it. And I take the Goldilocks approach, the small, medium, and large. If you offer people 3 options, they're more likely to pick one of the options, because again, it's that sense of feeling in control. I don't know about you, but I do not like to be told what to do. I am a classic entrepreneur. I am a classic Leo. I am a classic stubborn female. Just ask my husband. I'm loving, but I'm very decisive about what I want. If I'm given options, I feel much more comfortable. I feel much more trustful. Is that a word? Trusting. And so for many, many years, I offered 3 different options: the big, the medium, and the small. We always start with the big, right? And it's the one with all the bells and whistles, all the extra yummy stuff. And it's actually sometimes more affordable or has more value than the basic and then the maintenance, or, usually if what you're charging now, Mercedes, let's say what you're charging now, let's make that your medium one, and you create what Kiva, who's on this line, hi Kiva, she calls it your red VIP, red carpet price. I call it like my diamond, like total access, total this, total that. In fact, for many years, I had a program that was $100,000, and it made everything else very affordable. But people signed up for that $100,000 program to work with me for 1 year. In fact, some people signed up for it several years in a row, because I was able to take them from 100 or 200,000 in their business in 1 year to $1 million in 1 year, from 200,000 to $1 million. And they would gladly give me 100,000 to help them do that. Give me $10, I'll give you back 100. Don't judge me for what I charged. I charge I have a private program. I charge $50,000 for it, and we have several people in it. I do not advertise it. There's nowhere you can find out about it online. And people buy that because, it's everything that they want. It's like all Fabienne all the time. But when you have that big option, it makes all the other options more affordable. And then maybe that medium option, Mercedes, for you can just have a smaller one, but you remove some access or remove some of the goodies. And so now there's a program for every budget and for every type of person. And I have found that to really increase the percentage close, because there are more, I call them an option of yeses. There's more options to say yes. So turn to the person next to you and Good. I'm so glad you're enjoying it, guys. Yay. Awesome. Um, oh, thank you, Courtney. You can feel the love. I'm glad you were in Fort Lauderdale. I love the mindset retreat, and I'm so glad that you were there. Oh, Marietta, we do have the best Bold Heart community ever. I think it oozes out of me so much that it's contagious, and this extreme generosity and this extreme love. When you are surrounded by our community, you can make so many things happen in your business because all these people believe in you like never before. Um, Good, better, best. Yeah. Thank you, Susan. It's actually, I look at it best, better, good, because you always want to go top down. Um, I'm glad, Anthony, that you got something good. So, um, and Mercedes also had a question about competing with a cheaper competitor, even though you are differentiated. I really believe that the value must be communicated even before you talk about your prices. People will pay more for higher value, but often they get sticker shock before they understand the value that is being given. So the more you can talk about results, the more you can. So I'll give you an example. Go to boldheart.com and click on the tab at the top that probably says success stories. And I want you to go watch all those videos. When you have something like that on your website, and when you can talk about the results that people will get, that will be so much more than the investment that they made. They see the value as so much more than anything your colleagues and competitors would offer. Write this down for yourself. They need to see the value first before they see the price. That is what really helps. Euphemia Bread. My goodness, what a beautiful name. How to overcome objections and stand in the fire with them. Then, after let's say 75 minutes, when do you get off the phone? Beautiful question. One, you're either talking to tire kickers, people who would never work with you. They just want to get, free information from you. Sometimes people are lonely and they just want to be on the phone or in person with somebody. So one, make sure that they're a qualified prospect. And if not, then don't spend more than 5, 10, 15 minutes on the phone with them. Number two, go through this process that I'm talking to you about today. This whole idea of they must qualify themselves first before they get to talk to you. Then you don't have to sell for 75 minutes, right? They come virtually pre-sold to the whole GAC, the get acquainted call. And you're if they already answer the questions, if they have already listened, gotten answers to their objections, if they've already seen your testimonials, there's no reason why you should spend 75 minutes. And I'll tell you something. There are some times when I have spent way too much time with somebody, and after about, for me, the 55-minute mark, if by 55 or 60 minutes I haven't been able to show the value, it's that I'm dealing with somebody who's not ready they are actually holding on to their past and so strongly that they don't want to go into their future. And I can't help somebody like that. I have to love myself enough to not put myself in that situation of trying to convince somebody to work with me. Sometimes people are so fearful of change and so fearful of being successful that they self-sabotage, but they want to. This happened the other day. I was in New York and I spoke to this woman at the end of this presentation, and she was on the fence of taking a step to work with me in Bold Heart Business. And I just kept, and finally I said, you either have to see the value here or you don't. And I think she was just so scared to step into her next evolution. And I can't do that for somebody. I can inspire, I can inspire you and show you your bigger future, the future that you can't see for yourself. I have the unique ability to see it, but sometimes you just can't make somebody cross over the line, and you can't want it more than they want it. Write that down. I can't want it more than they want it. And if you want it more, you're going to seem pushy. So sometimes you just have to let it go and say, you know what, perhaps it's not the right time. Why don't you circle back around when it is? And that's what I say, circle back around when it's time. Um, just reading some, oh, you're welcome for the vibe and the tribe. Hey, Julia Lemmerhart, great to have you here. So let's see. So that's how you do it, Euphemia. Sharon Lynn Klein, how does this apply for people in private practice? How do you know what a reasonable fee is? What do you say when they are reserved to pay what you feel you are worth? The value, it's usually, like I said just a moment ago, the value has not been communicated. I have always just started low and kept inching up my prices until I felt resistance. I think it's easier to start low and go high. It's easier to fill your practice. That's how I did it. Versus starting high and having to go low, then people have to say, why are you charging less? And I'm being charged more and all of that. So I prefer to go low and then go high. And like I said, if you want more of these, no, I have not said this. If you want more of these tips, these best practices, go to boldheart.com, and there's some free gifts up at the top. You can scroll down all the way to the bottom and get my free videos every Saturday. Just sign up for the Saturday inspiration email. Actually, sign up today. It's Thursday, so you can get this Saturday's one. It's actually about something that I just talked about, the big breakdown before the big breakthrough, and what is a real warning of something going wrong and what is the manufactured self-sabotage. If you want to see that video, go to boldheart.com and scroll all the way down, sign up for the newsletter, which has the videos in it. And then, hey, listen, if you like what we're doing here and you want to talk to one of my coaches and tell them that you want to work with me and have a conversation with them, go to boldheart.com and click on Start Here and fill it out. Let's just see. There's no obligation. Believe me, we only want to work with people who want to work with us. So just try it out. It's free. They'll help you map out your next 12 months. You've got to be somebody who has clients already. It can't be just an idea. We work with people who already have paying clients, even if it's 5 paying clients. You've got to be able to be paid. That's who we work really well with. And we'll take you from 5 figures to 6 figures, and then from 6 figures to 7 figures. And Marietta, are you here? Yeah, I've got your question, Marietta. How do I know if my pricing is right, and should I include it on my website? Okay, fantastic question. Number one, if you do the 3 models, big, medium, and small, you will be able to have something for everybody. And it's not whether your prices are too high or not. There's something right for everybody. I know that I'm usually the one who says, what else do you have? What's bigger? There are people like that. And when I was first starting out, I did not have my prices on my website years and years ago. And then a business coach of mine told me to put my prices on the website, and the phone calls stopped coming in. And I think it was because I gave them all of the information up front, and there was no reason to call and find out, they were missing that one piece. So they would call, and then I'd say, let's set up again, acquainted call. I want to hear more about your business and see which program you go into, which program would fit best for you. And then I was able to communicate the value and do everything that we're talking about today. So I removed my prices from the website again, and then the calls started happening again. So I'm a big believer in, especially when you're starting out and there's a low volume, meaning you're not getting, 5 to 10 new inquiries a day. Take your prices off the website. At a certain point, at my point, you have to, because the volume is big. We don't work with everybody who wants to work with us. We cherry pick our clients, and our existing clients, members really appreciate that we cherry pick people. And so we just put the information out there. But that's my long answer to your short question. I believe don't put them on there if you don't absolutely have to. Oh, good, Chris Anderson. I'm glad that you're appreciative. I love being with you guys. This is so much fun. Hey, Laverne, how are you? I'm glad you're here. Hi, Arena. Hi, glad you're here too. My God, this is a party. I could sit here for another hour or so and do this. Hey, Pamela Roberts. Hey, Leslie Covington. Glad you're here. Lisa Nichols, so happy that you're here. Yeah, I just put the packages. I don't put the pricing. They need to call to find out what the pricing is. And when they ask, so when somebody calls and says, I want to know what your prices are, you say, I would be delighted to discuss them with you. Let's set up a get acquainted call. I want to hear about your business, and then I'm going to describe all of the packages. And they say, no, I want the pricing now. Well, there are different prices for different price points. Just need to figure out your needs. And I'm not trying to be secretive, but you know what? If somebody won't have a conversation with me, for me to find out what's going on in their business or back then with their health, they're not really interested in working with me. And so I have to tell you, there was one time, this was like 10 or 15 years ago, this woman was so belligerent on the phone about wanting to know what my price was that I tripled the price, and I told her, and she was like, oh my God, that's so high. I was like, good riddance, goodbye. Don't be so rude. Just having fun with the prospects. Oh, love you too, Laverne. Miss you. Want to give you a hug. I don't know if the signal has been lost. I hope not. So, hey, we're at the top of our time today. I wanted to do 1 hour with you, and if you like what we've done today, and please share with me in the comments what your biggest takeaway was from our Facebook Live today. And if you want me to do more of these, I have so many amazing topics. Go ahead, just say yes. I love this. Go ahead and share this with other people that are self-employed that could use more cash flow in their business, and say, you got to watch this Facebook Live I was just on. So many nuggets. And it would be my pleasure to be with you again. And if it ever makes sense, you'll let me know if you ever want to work with us. I have loved being here with you. Thank you for all your love and all your fantastic questions. And I will see you next time. Bye, everybody.